I did the thing. Push the button. Is it gonna work? Did I get away with it? Have I been naughty? Good. Fuck the man. Okay. I need to actually see how well this goes. Step 1. What's this? I need open Cult of the Lamb. Grab a controller. You got it, boss. I will get the controller. Where did I put it? I have the controller. I need its pluggy. I keep unplugging it because if I don't unplug it, it wakes up my pooter sometimes. Okay. Got it. We're booting this thing. Turning on game capture, though I'm not going to see it yet. Gotta get to the point where it sees it. Then I can do the thing. Maybe. Oh. Oh, no. Okay. Step 1.
Water.
Yeah, I gotta do a lot of things. Step 1, I need to get to the main menu. Controller recommend, yes. Okay, any button. I'm getting a cutscene. I'm assuming to talk about the fact the DLC is here. I don't want the cutscene. I want the options menu. I'm pretty sure I can watch this on YouTube. Okay. Thank you. I want the options menu. Settings. Okay, graphics. Full screen mode. My computer's screaming again. Borderless windowed. That's what God intended. Okay. Okay. Defaulting to full screen is all well and good until you're a streamer and you're trying to fix your stuff and it all explodes. Because I don't run many things in full screen. Which is fine because Game Capture defaults just capture anything full screen. I was like, I don't want that. So now I go to Game Capture and I change Game Capture to Cult of the Lamb. And it should pop up in the corner. Eventually. Where is it? Where? Cult of the Lamb. Capture audio. Okay. If I go to the game thing, there's no Cult of the Lamb. Why is there no Cult of the Lamb? Oh, and my Twitch window moved. Everything moved because the full screen. Okay. We'll figure this out. I'll figure it out. We're doing it live. Blah, 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 blah. Thank you for resubbing, beloved wife, with your Amazon Prime. Okay. I'm over here. Wait, that worked. I just had to be in the window. Okay. Okay. VSync, graphics, reset. Look nice, do things. Okay. Stuff we can mess with later if I have a hard time. Okay. Okay. Probably this button. Woolhaven is installed because Liz bought it for me. She's very nice. Okay. We did it live. We did it. I solved... I'm pretty sure this used to be, like, not blue and white, but hey. Unless it's like Hollow Knight, you can change the title screen to whichever one you want. I'm not seeing that here, but maybe later. Boom. Oh! Okay. So is Woolhaven like a whole separate campaign then? Is that what's going on there? Okay. Okay. Oh, the one who waits below. Our old friend. Okay. What does that mean if someone plays co-op? Oh. Okie dokie. Ooh, so many button choices. Hey, yo, one. Aw, okay. Oh, this looks good. Always good when you see a pentagram and several old scary gods. Ever boy. What's that guy do? He grunts at me. Hello, I'm killing as much time as possible for my inevitable demise. How are you? Yes, look at my sad face. Change your minds. Sad face, change your minds. No? Okay, I'll go stand on the hill platform. Oh, the last sheeps. Okay. Oh, okay. We don't like him. I mean, we're pretty fucked anyway, no matter what. Is there's no other sheeps, so can't exactly fix that problem. Hello. This guy got 3 eyeballs. Oh, such options. Let me think. Should I start a cult? Maybe. Maybe I should. I really should. Okie. Go start a cult. Wear my funny hat and start a cult. I'm a good person. I'm a good person. I'm a good person. Thing's wiggling. Well, I would have cooked for that, but alright. Okie dokie. Ratao! I am Ratao. And you've really gotten over it, clearly. Okie dokie. Break everything! Smash! 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 I'm saying in normal. Oh, words. You're very stable mentally, and we know that because you've got 6 tattoos to say that. Yeah. They're all different. Animation canceled, idiot. I think that should have hurt me, but I cannot be hurt yet. I don't think that was the inventory button. I think this is the inventory button. You have money. I have sword. Crusader's blade. I have fleece. I have nothing. Nothing. And nothing. Money. Money. That one would have hurt me then. I dodged to be on a not the B button? Personal. It's really out of the way for me to do as a reflex. Oh, Neely Man. Okay. The big smile as I stab him is fun. Die! Killed your bugs. I'm normal. Indoctrination. Oh no. Feeling a little real there. Alright. What's up, bro? You have done well. Begin your new cult. But I want to do that. I want to be the dirt bitch. Alright, give me one. There's Twitch integration. That's good to know in the future. Controls. LT is nothing. Can I change that? Custom. Heavy attack RB. Dodge roll. I'm going to put dodge roll on that because that's nothing. I think it said that's nothing. Nope. Oh, no, that's menus. There we go. That feels much better to me. Okay. Dirt bitch? Dirt bitch. Yeah, I do good, Mom. Okay. You proud of me? I'm doing something not evil at all. Ignore the pentagram on my screen. Okay. Wow. No, I'm normal. Ish. Boy. Which once was mine is now yours. I'm warm embracing my cult. Okay. I can do it too. Your name is Poppy. Your appearance is... oh. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. The nose being off the side of their head sure is a look. Choose color. Oh my goodness. Choose variant? Oh. I see. I'll keep you normal for now. Faster healing. If you sacrifice someone, he gets mad. I get the feeling I know who's going to die first. Okay. Give me wood. They must eat. Okay. But look at him go. I'm so happy about this. Look at him. Happy little sheep. Build a cooking fire. Okay. Oh, I can do it. Very good at it, actually. He, on the other hand, is the slowest bitch. Okay. All right, we got rock. Berry bush seed. That's a big old thing. Oh no, okay. Hint taken. That's for later. Looks like they recover slowly. Any more rock? No. Okay. More rock. Okay. And I build. Oh, good lord. Oh, no. Oh, those are places I can't do things. So anywhere else. How about right dead center? I like eating. Everyone likes eating, right? Said no. Oh, dirt says no. Dirt means no. Assuming I can move things later if I want. All right, here. Feed to them. Followers will begin to starve. Find food while crusading. Okay. Okay. We have that problem to worry about. I have seeds, but I can't do a farm yet. Cook a meal. Make basic berry bowl. 15% chance of follower pooping instantly. Well, isn't that great? Okay. Is it cooking? I'm missing something. Cook. There's a cook button. Shrine will eat followers and gold. Okay. Okay. Find recruits. Kick glass. Got it. More gold, more followers. You got it. Subtle hint. Ooh. Tails, more followers will mean more power. More doors. Okay. Sailor's Blade. More damage. Leshy. Destroy these nuts. Dang training dummies not exploding. Oh, never mind. Oh. And they give me wood. I'm just greedy enough to go for that. Give me that wood. Don't take that out of context. Or do, I don't care. Oh, there's... And we don't know which one's which. Okay. We kind of just navigate around however we want, it's like, so. Meat. Love smashing stuff for reasons. All right. Hello. Clownick. The lovers. Gain a heart. Critical hit. Ooh. Oh, 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 oh. Oh! Is that a penis? Oh, rabbit's foot. Ah. Oh, they actually have different things they say. Wowzers. Neighbor's harvest. Grow fat on the zeal of your foes. Oh my. That multiplier always good. Attack rate increased, also good. I do like some zoomy smash. Hey, that's a fat spider. Venom of fear knows no cure. Deals poison damage. I like that. My glasses are dirty. My pizza has bitten back, and I've just noticed because I'm trying to read. That's a frickin' picture. Damages everything on screen when hit. Deal critical hit. Reveal the map. So if it's blue, is it like Binding of Isaac where it's a temporary heart? Is that what that is? Yeah, it must be, because that's red. Okay. Now, are you at the draw? What? It's just what I have. Okay, whatever. Let's say it again someday. And when he does, I'll be there. Blech. Gathering everything, everything, everything. Because I am a greedy bitch, gathering it all. Okay. Things are fun. Goes forward. Oh, that's the way out. Okay, so we want to go back first because I like seeing everything because I'm a mess of a person. I like stuff in your bones. Like the cat follows me, but is not part of me, but follows me, but is not part of me. Okay, interesting. I guessed it. Oh no, you touched me! You touched me twice! Oh, mother of fuck. How dare you? All for a couple bucks. And a rock! Alright, now we leave. There's a few corpses around. I can't feel like I'm the bad guy starting a cult when this cult just leaves a million dead bodies. A shop or a forage, or a shop or a forage. It told me to forage. It told me to forage, so I should forage. I guess. Okay. Okay. It's nothing? Nothing. Okie dokie. Oh, that was it. Okay. These aren't really worth the effort, are they? But I don't have that much wood, so 2 lumber is actually pretty good. Lots of grass. 8. Who doesn't like some meat? Meat, meat, meat. Meat, meat, meat. Meat, meat, meat. Meat, meat. There it is. Hey. Give me all your stuff, give me all your stuff, give me all your stuff, give me all your stuff. Oh, hello. Get from below. Ooh. Ooh, but this one could feed me constantly. And this one, I don't even know how to heal yet, so... I can make noises. Oh, are you at the ocean? Got it. Yeah, okay. That's what I missed last time. What? How can this be? You were put to the blade. Yet you're here. I mean, yeah, I'm turning tail and running. Back. That seems like I should only go that way if I'm down to fight. Well, so ends my list of options. My followers will do anything for me. Can you say the same of yours? I have one guy. Destroy the red crab. Lucius is gross. That's all he is. I like their noises. Follower awaits. What is this? Choose blueprint. Choose seed. Choose lumber. I think blueprint will help me right now because I ain't got shit. Mosaic flooring. Not what I was looking for, but sure. Oh my. Ads. Requires a temple. Hello. I have money. One. Okay then. Well. Yay! Oh, I should have read what's that there. It says something about plus 20%. That's all I got. I'm a fool! I'm distracted by the pretty things. The pile of treats. Love treats. Oh, I can't go back. It says no. Let us indoctrinate this fucker. So, I've unlocked that. Cool. He's unique. He's fun. I can change his color if I want. I kind of like the green mossy look because I'm a freak. Terrified of death, -5 whenever another follower dies. Oh, interesting. Seeing the problems. Guess I'm going to have you work on mining. Devotion. Okay. Need a shrine. Wonder what it wants me to do. Place for fellows to pray. The shrine will hold the devotion they create. It can only be built once. Oh. Oh, because set spot. Okay. Oh. He ran out of wood, so he helped me build it. Oh. Okay. They can now worship me. You are also here. You are generic. Got it. I'm not hellbent on changing them yet. Heals 50% slower. Gain 10 faith when falling ill. He wants poo? He wants the poo! He can be pet. He can be pet. Because he's a dog. Okay. Okay. You have collected inspiration and unlocked new buildings for your cult through the shrine. Okay. Pet dog. That sparks joy. Okay. Alright. Anything else I can do? We have the shrine. Sin. Just make sin. Time to earn sin points! That's all I can really do right now. It seems. I need to, oh. Party meat broth. I should make a bunch. I made it food. Enjoy. No one's hungry yet, but it's there. What's this? Oh. Okay. I need to collect the thing from the shrine. Oh. Okay. Temple. Bullhaven has its own thing. Establish a temple to preach sermons and perform it. Okay. Probably important. Bless me, Father, for I have sinned. No really big sinner. Yeah. Oh, still there. Sleeping bags. That's probably going to be important. Will often collapse. Farm plot. That's going to be important too. Okay. Preach sermons and perform rituals. I mean, this is a big one, right? We probably want to put this somewhere big and prominent. Boom. Like they come to help. Right now. Oh, okay. Keep them happy. Preach a sermon within the temple. We now have faith. Oh, that's an ominous. I'm preaching, bitches. Okay. Through the faith, you grow stronger. Performing sermons will draw power from them and allow you to unlock new abilities, weapons, and curses. Higher loyalty level will generate more devotion. Therefore, the more followers you have and the more loyal they are, the quicker you will gain new abilities. Okay. Arts of the Faithful is all I can do. Okay. Need to declare doctrine so they might obey you. Okay. Go stab some more. I'm good at that. I can stab all damn day. It'll go bad eventually. Is that why it's got the green? Ugh, concerning. Okay. Well, we'll learn over time, won't we? Okay. Back we go into the stinky green. Wood. Ooh, big axe. Slower, more damage. Okay. I might regret this, but we'll try it. Oh boy, it is hard to hit these. Look at that lumber. I probably don't need to keep farming lumber. I have 36 stinking lumber. I don't know how much lumber I need. I feel like I need to get everything. You know what I mean? Meat. Gotta keep feeding meat. Oh, eventually you can feed them poop. That's one of the few things I know. You can feed them poop because you're fucked up. Those are these heavy attacks too. So far, very straightforward. Hello. And bring good news. One who waits is pleased with your progress and wishes to grant you a crown ability. I don't know what that means. Okay. But further to replenish your curses. Okay. Okay. Wait, what's the shoot button? Y. I see. Careful, they spit. Is it? I have so much grass. Oh, there's a timer of 30 minutes. Oh, it's like how long am I going, but like game time. It's not actively moving at the moment. You missed. So you foolishly persist. I hear your lies and smell your fear. Okay. Am I unworthy? Because I'm kind of like messing your dudes up. Oh. Until this exact moment, then I stop messing your dudes up. Your dudes messed me up a little bit. I'm scary. Because that's clearly the right way. I guess I should go south then. One-hearted. I didn't do so good that time. I'm sorry. Oh, wow, yeah, I definitely should have. Nope. This one. Give me that chance of sucking up their life. Delicious. Oh, it's almost nighttime. What's gonna happen? I don't know. It is nighttime. Pick up. Oh. Little late on that one, but alright. Healing, a store, or wood. Follower. Down as a follower. We kind of want that, right? Like, that's the point. Okay. We'll get wood and a follower. That's a lot of wood. I feel really funny having wasted all that time on those. Whatever. Okay. On a perfect world, I would have gotten healing too, but I'm being greedy. Let's see what happens. We go up here. We got a follower, hopefully. That'll be great. It's a deer. The worm, it is hungry. It feeds. It partakes of our flesh. But that is the price for safety. For what we gladly give it. For that we give it all we have. Okay. Oh, I don't like the axe. I kind of knew I wouldn't, but I had to try it. Gotta try it at least once, right? I'd like it more if I, you know, had a way to recover, but I don't, so. I just ignored you like an asshole. Oh, I can't do that. They're so sad. They're so sad. And away we go, I guess. Steel Devotion? That rules. Wait, what? It rebuilds? Okay. Fine. More damage. I tried to say a word there. What I just had, but stronger. Fine. Fine, fine. Fine. Oh, hey, look at that. Sometimes you can just find help. Hello. Haro! Odds and adherence. Hundreds of gods. Now there's like 5. Goodbye! Oh, that's gonna matter later. The chonks. Commandment Stone. You form the Commandment Stone. Declare new doctrines. Okay. That's way out. We don't want that yet. What do we got? Oh, please. I am so slow. Immediately better. That's all I needed. This whole situation just got more manageable. Okie dokie. Oh, look at these funny things. Look at them. Look at these funky dudes. Alright, what we got? Valifar. Oh my. Good. I got hurt by that. Pew, 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 pew. Oh, it's too early. Okay, so you can cancel your dodge with the... Got it. That's good to know. Choose 16 berries, choose berry bush seed, choose blueprint. Get the blueprint. Okay. I mean, it's something. Gimme. I got a chunk of stone. Oh. Wait, fight Leshy already. Alright. I'm doing so good. 2. I'm assuming I need to do at least 2 more. They're at 5 times. 4 times, or whatever. Offense to non-believers. I think damageless last time? Is that why I had the plus 20? I don't know. 2 followers. Lots of murder. Faster than the last one, it says. Hello. Every move? You're the final boss, aren't you? Let's be real. You want to be God. I got the crown. No matter with power. You're all shit. Unsanitary conditions will make people sick. Let them sleep or they might die. Poop, vomit, and dead bodies will spread illness. Little face. I'm assuming we want farming early. Farmer stations allows farmers to water nearby crops. Let's see. So we probably want this by our food. It went down, actually. And pumpkin. I can fertilize it with the poo. It's funny. We plant the berries. Genius. No one else could ever figure it out. I mean, I want to keep doing it, but you guys are kind of in the way, and I can't really see what I'm doing, and it's... No, you do that. I'm going to chop this down. Berries. Okay. The little blush. I was gonna throw up because of the poo. That's funny. Oh, okay. Like, we can cook grass. Make Tino eat grassy gruel. Better than nothing. You honor me. Okay. Oh, so it made up for itself. What is this? Okay. There's one. No. Armor. I can pronounce that. We got new forms. Look at that. Ooh. Royal Pooper. All poops are golden. Okay, you're a good one. I made you purple. What made you like this gray purple? I like that more. Yeah. I'm recruiting follower, immediately lose 10. Well, that sucks. Gain faith when falling ill. You guys are weird. I never sleep. Faith just slowly drains. What? Okay. Sermon time! Okay. try this. Excuse me. Okay. Here with one hand. Oh, it changes immediately. I have one thingy. Is that what I spend here? Oh. Is there something to do here? Am I missing? Oh, it's this. Sacred Lightnings. Use a stone to declare a new doctrine for your cult. Dance around the flame to increase the cult's faith. Okay. Stuff I don't have. I need bones. I've been trying to get bones. Lied to me. You said I could not get the bones, game. I break the bones and get to no bones. I was trying, but you said no, I couldn't have that. Ugh. Desecrate their bodies to gather their bones. For the sake of argument, probably gonna need a better way to handle that in the future, but sanitation is not perfect. Where is it? There it is. Can I help you? Give the cult a name. Alright. Alright. Gotta name the cult. Not a cult. Welcome to the Odd Occult. Good dog. Okay. Food good, germ. Oh, there's one. I get the feeling the poops are going to be a full-time job, dudes. Alright, 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 alright. Oh, they have a light above them for how many you've done. I see. Darkwood. Ooh, choices. Praetor's Razor. Yeah, that's more my thing. You will die. This wood is not worth it. Night, bird. Oh, this doesn't happen often, but we're gonna take it. I just didn't do that right away. Oh, look at that. That's a good attention to details. What that is. Okay. Right. Bones. Oh. Red crouches upon the brow of another frogman. Vagina mouth. I'm sorry, you two were related. How? I no, I'm not moving until you explain. What do you mean? What do you mean? You're a ball of fuzz. He's a four-eyed frog. Is that thing also related to you? Because that's like a cone head with a vag mouth. What are you? You're not talking, are you? All right, fine. I'm gonna stab it out of you. Oh, you can roll. Look at you. Oh, that is not what I thought it was. That was many mans. Have I earned my bones, mother? Okay. Main Beef, fast, has no reach. You're just gonna be in the gangbang. Is a little brutal. Oh! I didn't even see those. I might be dumb. Boy, I'm not doing good this run, am I? I'm gonna teach you what happens when I lose sooner or later, I guess. Okay. Yum, 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 yum. Follower and healing? That's hard to argue with. Like, we want that, right? Yeah, that's fucked up. I save you, funny little zebra giraffe man. Horse pig thing. Don't let me want to use the bones of your brethren to fuel a delicious bonfire party later. We'll all have a great time. Don't worry about it. Then we'll go here where it has big heart. Ooh! This is fucked up looking. Love took my heart to the sea she took my heart to the sea. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh, fun. Less fun. This is a whole deal. Wow, you can go nuts here, huh? All right. Wow. Big healing. I have a little health now. Let's get some wood. Missed the meat. I didn't even notice it in time. Give Taurus and all that. Alright. That was short. Yes, I will. Fuck you. Aw, you can't break it before it's finished fixing. Dithering. Okay. Man, me too. Mood. Aw, they don't hurt each other. It makes me really sad. Okay. I like the music. Bitch. Ooh, God. Sure. Oh, I had to pick one of those. Oh, I'm dumb. I didn't even look at the other dagger. He's out way more. I should. Okay. Lesson learned. That's fine. Hello. Oh, the crown becomes the weapon. I didn't even realize. Excuse me, I have to break everything you own. It's kind of the law. I can go with the default. This is stronger than what I have. Or no. This is literally just mine, but better. Okay. Or I could have traded out for the straight up sword. Okay. They all make such noises when they talk. Barbatos! Ew. Oh, you're one of these. Okay. Ooh. was stupid of me. Twice run like bitch. Sad. Ugh. I hit faster, I think I do. I'm just being a chicken. Well, he's like a bony axolotl. Get in there. Gold nugget. Follower form? I don't know what this is. I don't know what this is. This seems like a permanent thing. A new animal form your followers can take. Oh. Do I kind of unlock those normal? Okay. Well. Fine. Hold on just a sec. Let me, make the exit here. Boom, 5. Look at that. Okay. That's not bad at all. Where am I going? Yeah, okay. Oh. Homeboy has words. Oh. Interact with followers to read their thoughts, so we'll see how hungry, tired, or sick they are. Yes. Okay. I can read their minds. Finally, no more confusion about what people want from me. Not a cult. Yay, it says it every time. Alright, final lap with these guys. Let's see what up. We have lots to deal with. There should be... I mean, there straight up is mass, right? We gotta deal with that. My broom is upgrading. It'd be so funny if we pulled some hilarious pranks on Armor. They're a real picky eater, so let's make them eat poop. Okay. Oh, it's got a time limit. Okay, so I want to fertilize you, I guess? Okay, so which one's Armor? Amdusius. Do this real quick. The thing. That helps me. That helps me immediately. The ability to read minds, don't we all? Oh, okay, here we go. We're gonna get another one. Body pit. Ooh. Okay. What have we unlocked here? Colt 2. Oh. Cleaning, cleaning, cleaning. We wrapping up. She tired. It's bedtime for her. I'll probably have my noodles. Gotta have your noodles every night. I haven't had noodles in 3 days. That's probably why I'm acting kind of weird. Okay, which one's armor? Poppy. I know. Armor's the deer. Okay, you. Yes, well. Bowl of poop. Meal made with excrement. I lose a lot of faith. Oh, he's already going. He's right on it. Sorry, man. It's for the quest. Oh. Age 20. Oh, they have an age. Oh, leader, you are so funny. Okay, so we need to build beds. That's easy. This doesn't seem like the ideal way to go, but 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Whoa! Funky bug. Bristle. Sleep, my children, sleep. Humpty. Got this new one. You want to be less of a zebra? Kind of like the zebra. Oh, you can be straight up giraffe boy. You can be lots of things. I like this one. Right. I can change you and mark you. Be pet. Gain 10 faith. Gain filth from building better sleeping quarters. Okay. Going to pet you. I mean, yeah, I know I have new ones. Game. I'm always getting new ones. Oh, I liked that weird skull thing. Oh, you come in many colors. What about hot pink? Very axolotl-y. Harder to level up. Likes poo. Ignores dissenters. Okay. You're also going to worship. Everyone's going to worship. There. Lots of beds for everyone. Come on, good girl. Give me that. Give me that. Did you say I missed something earlier, baby? Okay. I'll have to finish building. I'm a fool. Sermon time! Yes, bawl for me, my children. Yes, dance with me, my children. A new world awaits. Okay. I guess I have enough faith to unlock a new space or something. Oh. As long as you level them up, they will reward you with devotion and a commandment stone fragment. Each time fire levels up, they will generate additional devotion when at a sermon or worshipping at the shrine, so be sure to cultivate their loyalty. You can give a follower a blessing once a day when you interact with them. Visit me at my home. Only shack. Okay. Okay. Well, we've learned a lot. Oh, we can go places now. I think we have enough of you guys doing this at the moment. And you don't seem very good at it. Oh, two of them got it. You work on stone. And you work on wood. It's blessing people. Why not? Blow some fuckers up. Yeah, if they're close together, I get both. Okay, cool. And seed silo. Ooh. I can make a farmer station. Water nearby crops. Oh, where it is placed matters quite a lot. I cancel that one. Whoa. I can put this... Okay, so this radius is super important. We don't want to fuck that up. I guess for now, I'll just put it... Jeez, I don't know. Let's buy it, but out of the way. Okay, we need to cook. A grassy gruel. What's this one? Oh, I'm running out of meat? I am. This gets a little more maintenance time as you go, clearly. Oh my goodness. They left no spare food, hardly. Oh no, okay. Holy cow. Okay. Gee. These take a bit. These ones take a bit. There we go. And I can just put a bunch of berry bush seeds. I'll go to town. Now they'll be able to water. Make armor. So I lose 20 faith if I say no. Oh, Lord. Okay. I don't have the stuff right now anyway, so... I don't know how long that timer is, but we don't have the poops, so... I'll go looking for poops. They make poops sometimes. Ooh, there's a good poops. I don't want to waste that one. Okay. I think we're at a point where we kind of have to call it. Can I do a sermon again at New Day? No. It's not New Enough Day. Okay, he's plugging away. They're all plugging away. Yeah, that would take a very long time. Okay. So... I think for now we're good. Oh, he's doing the thing. Look at that. Cool. That helps. We're gonna have to have a little bit more out for you guys to eat. Like, no food out here. Okay. So shy of finding 3 poop mat. Well, I mean... There's 1. I need 3 to make another thing for the dealy do. Please stop throwing up. Okay. Full of poo. Oh, he's just doing it. The quest says do it, so he'll do it. Okay. Many people think this is very funny. Okay. Can we take your stuff back? I'm sorry, I'm rapping. I am. Huh? Just the dog, so I can turn that in, please. Hello? Dear dog, whatever the hell it is. I know? Where are you? Oh, you're up here doing this. Kind of a jerk. Okay. You do that, man. I know what you're doing. Okay. Going to save. We have a whole menu of like stuff we've done. That's nice. I need to call it good for tonight. So, first impression, it's pretty fun. I can see the appeal. I worry it'll get very complicated. We'll see. I'm scared of the Twitch button. I know I can make the chat interact somehow. But I don't know what the limits of that are or what that does. But for now, I'm going to call it. And I have some doodle work to do on the side. I got one more Valentine's YCH to do. Just one more. And then I am done with the 4. But for now, thank you for joining me tonight. Sooner or later, I'll remember how to run ads. It'll be great, instead of always forgetting every time. And I will see you all next time with hopefully an even more interesting Otter Cave. I'm working on it. Working on it. Okay. Bye.